All right, we're going to call this May 14th, 2024 meeting of the Town of Selma Council, meeting number 2 to order. First thing we have this evening is, of course, an invocation. And we have a very special guest with us today, Miss Nakia Walker of Mount Sinai Holy Church, right outside of Selma, North Carolina. If everybody would please stand for the invocation.
Lord, first we come before you humbly and ask that you just continue to bless us the way that you have so far. Lord, we thank you for everything that you've done for us up to this point. Lord, we ask that you bless our leaders, not just in our community, God, but globally and nationally as well, Lord. Lord, we ask that you continue to guide them and lead them so that they can make the right decisions and follow your lead. Lord, we ask that you bless us as community members and as the people who support our leaders, God. Help us to support them wholeheartedly, Lord. And Lord, we just ask that you continue to guide us as community members as well. Lord, we ask that you empower each and every one of us with a boldness to go out into our communities and make a real difference, Lord. We ask that you empower us so that we can carry out different strategies and things that we discuss in these meetings, Lord. Lord, again, we just want to say thank you for everything that you've done for us, God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. You'll remain standing. Just a quick note, Ms. Walker hosted a fantastic career fair at the Civic Center recently with her church, so we're very appreciative of that in our community. We also have another very special guest with us today, our very own 2023 Miss Railroad Days is here. Ms. Anna Smiley, give her a hand. She is here to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance for today. If you want to come on up, and I'll let you take it away. Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I do need to recognize in the back with the fantastic tie, Commissioner Ted Godwin is here with us. Ooh, we got to get that straightened out. Let's straighten that out. Let's straighten that out right now. Yeah. My man. What do you think, Commissioner? Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. All right, and that brings us into the approval of our agenda. First, we have a consent agenda with meeting minutes from May 4th and May 9th. We've got a text amendment for definitions about signs that is being requested by planning, which seems pretty anodyne. We do have quite a few public hearings on the list as well, but that is it for the agenda. Staff, do we have anything else that need to be added or subtracted from the agenda? Yes, sir.
We need to, well, not the consent agenda.
Oh, any of the agenda.
But did you mean, you meant nothing?
I apologize. Correct. April 4th and April 9th. That is not May. So those are approval of minutes from April 4th and April 9th. That's meeting 1 and meeting 2 from April. Thank you very much.
And on public hearings, could we please table the Michael Ford on the agenda until July, the July meeting?
So the July meeting?
Yes, they're out of town in June and did not have notice on this meeting.
I think this is the table it till July.
The public hearing.
So Chip, we tabled it with them here saying that, of course, we would bring it back in May from April. Your thoughts on any of this?
Yes, sir. Council has authority to table it again if you desire, or you can hear it. The applicant could object if they wanted to, and I'm not sure if the applicant's here.
That was the issue. They couldn't be here. They were not given notice of the meeting. And so they weren't aware they were on the agenda. And so they asked, could they move it to July, because in June they're out. Michael will actually be fishing Big Rock.
Okay. Got it. Mayor, that would be up to the council.
What's this one? We're in May,
We're in May.
and they won't be around for June.
She's fishing Big Rock, and I think Debbie is out of state.
I think the reasoning for tabling it was looking for new information. Do we have any new information that was sent? Because I did remember we left it as, please send in new information if you have it. Did we get any new information related to this?
So Monday.
Well, I mean, you want to make it in the form of a motion, but I would say, hey, we've given every opportunity under the sun to get any extra information.
Oh,
Oh,
There's Steve.
hey,
Suggestion, again, your agenda, go through, approve it, and then when it comes up under B, address it if you prefer to do that. It's entirely up to you where you can address it now.
and we do seem to have a representative from that group here, so I guess we'll take it as part of the agenda and then discuss it as we get to bringing it back up off the table.
That work?
Sounds good,
All right.
sounds good. Did we have any other adjustments, subtractions, additions we wanted to make to the agenda? All right, we have agenda before us. Do I have a motion to approve this agenda?
With the exception you just said about going through this.
Oh, no, well, we're gonna leave it as is. Yeah, we're gonna leave it as is. So do I have a motion to approve the agenda as is?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we've got ourselves an agenda, and then with that, we do have the consent agenda. Of course, again, those meeting minutes from April 4th and April 9th, that's meeting number 1 and number 2 of April. And then we have a text amendment from planning to make some adjustments to how our sign information reads. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, we got a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we've got a consent agenda, and then we have open forum citizens requests. We have 2 folks that have signed up to speak as part of open forum citizens request. First and foremost, we've got Mr. Rodney Cabe on here. If you would come up, please state your name and home address for the record, and then please share with us what you have.
Gabe, 86 Country Store Road, Selma. I am the chairman of Moccasin Creek Board, and I'm here to respond to your input for drainage. Thankfully, I've already talked with Philip, and Philip has put me in touch with your engineer. So I'm here to let you know we're wanting to work as a collaborative effort between our drainage system and your drainage system. I did bring some maps in, so I hope all of you can take a look at the map and see where Selma's actual laterals are, and then how they fall through the county and Pine Level and then down to Princeton. But I know you guys had, put out something on Survey Monkey, and when we looked at it, we felt it was best if we respond as an entity, and we're here to help you as much as we want you guys to help us. So we're making sure that we're getting the water away from Selma, but when it gets down to Pine Level and Princeton, and everybody's still able to drive around, and people still got a home on the lake, and we're not putting any impurities down into the Atlantic Ocean, because a drop of oil here is going to flow through that watershed all the way to Pamlico Sound and into the ocean. So I'm here as a resource. Philip was on our board at one time, so he and I have an open dialogue, and I know that we also have some projects that are on the board, that probably will be approved in 2 stages. I think Philip said, first will be an engineering stage. So we're already working together, but I wanted to come and let you guys know that we're here as a resource as well as a partner to work.
Fantastic. Thank you
So-
very much.
He has my contact information. He's put me in touch with your engineer. If y'all need anything, Philip can get a hold of me.
We appreciate you being here, and I must say, I know over the last couple of years, the amount of work that you folks have put in with that board has been amazing. Mr. Gray Sasser is our representative on that board, and we really appreciate the efforts to really, quite frankly, keep us dry.
Well, thanks to Larry Strickland and the county commissioners, they've really been helpful, because the money that we are putting into the creek is not taxpayer money. It is it's grants, it's money from the county, it's money from the state. We did $500,000 worth of projects last year. We've got $500,000 worth of projects on the slate for this year. And if we can keep rolling, we'll continue to roll. So as long as we don't get a big hurricane that changes what's happening with the creek, we're doing engineering and design and then implementation. And so hopefully we can bring some of that knowledge to Selma and fast roll. And, cause I know you guys have got some drainage issues that you want to be solved, and I understand.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then we have Mr. Tim Richard. Come on up and state your name and address for the record. Share with us what you have.
Yes, my name is Tim Richard. I live at 204 Second Avenue, Summer. One of the concerns I have is by Anderson Street, where all the trains are, is the on and off ramp. It's 55 miles through there. I've been going by there for 20 years, and I've been almost in 3 or 4 accidents because people don't realize it's 55. And out of the RV place too. Something has to be either move the speed limit up past that or put some signs across so they can understand it's not 35-mile-an-hour zone. Because they just come out of there like they're, I don't know.
So that's Anderson Street
Yeah, up by where the trains all store, and you get on the highway at 95.
At
you
95.
Get on and come out.
Yes, sir.
And the RV place that's up 30 feet from there or whatever,
Yes, sir.
they all come out of that place like it's, I've been almost in 3 serious accidents over there where people just don't care, or don't know, put it to you that way.
Yes, sir. All right, we will make a note of that, and in fact, we'll certainly share that with NCDOT and our community partners as far as transportation that concern, and see if we can make some headway there.
Also, too, I was just concerned, like, that thing with the person who's supposed to be here. I spoke to him earlier about that, the 801 rezoning. I didn't understand when you said you're gonna table it or continue it. You didn't say any date, so I just happened to come here today and see that it was there, and I was confused.
Mhm.
So you have to add more information to people when you say you're gonna redo it, give a date, that people can tentatively learn that it's gonna be next month, that what date or whatever. I don't know, when you say continue, you don't say to when. But from what he told me, it's next meeting. I don't know that.
Okay.
I mean, it's just something that, and also too, what's the population of Selma?
Approximately 7,000.
7,000. All right. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, bud. Thank you. Do we have anybody else for open forum, sis? Commissioner Godwin? Yes, sir. Absolutely. Name and address for the record.
Ted Godwin, 395 Hawkins Road, Selma, and Johnston County. Greetings, Ms. Mayor, members of the council. I just wanted to comment, we had a joint meeting on the 2nd of this month between Selma and the county. And I grew up outside of Selma in the 50s and 60s, and I've seen Selma go through ups and downs. And I just want to congratulate the leadership, the staff, the administration on what's happening in Selma right now. You know, that was a great announcement on the 2nd with the new industry coming in. And you're going to have some growing pains, and you're going to have some kickback. But I just want to say from an outside observer that you guys are doing great, and we commend you. We'll certainly support you any way we can. The Moccasin Creek, team, one of our commissioners was on that, the chairman of that for years and years, and put in a lot of time. I know it takes a lot of time, you know. Chief here was on it, and, we support them too, and I know they're gonna need help, because it helps everybody when we can train this as it should be. But I just want to commend Selma for what you're doing. You're doing a good job, and, you're sure shining a good light on it.
Appreciate you.
Thank
Well, the
you.
support from the commissioners just helps, so thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do we have anybody else as part of open forum citizens request? Going once, going twice. Moving right along. So public hearings and appeals, the first one we have is a text amendment to chapter 17, an electronic gaming operations ordinance. Staff, do we have any more comments? We've seen this a few times now. All right.
Mayor, this legislative, and if you'll check under, it is the, approved criteria number 2, it was 1 mile instead of half a mile. It's been changed. So you've got the current edition.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. With that, do I have a motion to open the public hearing related to this electronic gaming ordinance text amendment?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We've got a public hearing open. Is there anybody who would like to speak as part of this public hearing related to this electronic gaming ordinance? Staff, any comments? Council, any comments? I have a motion to close the public hearing related to this electronic gaming ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. And, council, then do I have a motion to adopt this section 17-533 electronic gaming ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Got
Nay.
ourselves. Oh, nay? One nay. Councilman Overby, one nay. We do have ourselves a gaming ordinance. Thank you. All right. And then, so that brings us to this public hearing related to 212 West Griswold and 801 Second Avenue. So it was tabled. Do we need to make a, motion to take it off the table?
No, and what happened, Mayor, Miss Howard, her grandson has a sports banquet, and she wanted to speak. She said she couldn't, she was gonna be late, so she asked me to relay that they do want to request that it be tabled. She's spoken to Mr. Ford. He has a conflict, and Mr. Gilbert, who's the main witness, she represented to me, was sick and not able to be here. I'm not sure what they've told, Ms. Watson.
Same.
But that's what she relayed to me, so the request from, the applicant is to make it a tabling motion to July is what she's requested. So I'm relaying what I was told, and then I think she told the same thing to Mr. Howard. But I did tell her I would relay that to council.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Well, do I have that in the form of a motion?
I make a motion, we table till July.
Second.
We'll give that to Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
It is tabled. The Joco Dream Center Special Use Permit quasi judicial hearing, we had that
Apologize,
tabled?
just for the record, I apologize, sir. And when we tabled, I think the way it was left, the evidentiary phase, the new information request was still there. So I would say that would carry over, to the July hearing. Is
Okay.
that correct? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. And in fact, just to be clear for everybody, we'll make that July meeting too?
Yes, sir, July meeting too.
So that'll be our second Tuesday of July for that meeting, okay? All right. That brings us to the Joco Dream Center Special Use Permit quasi judicial hearing. Do we need to make any motions to reopen that, or are we good to go?
I think at this point, Mayor, just reopened, and I cannot remember if we had anybody under oath, we swear witnesses in.
And we can swear to it.
And yes, that is correct.
We have, a couple of staff that have done some research that probably be sworn.
That's fine. Then Mayor, protocol wise, it was tabled. Let's make a motion to go back into the quasi hearing, and then I'll see if there's any additional witnesses that need to be sworn, if you're good with that.
Sounds good. Do I have a motion to go back into the quasi judicial hearing related to the Joco Dream Center Special Use Program?
So moved.
Second.
Give that second to Councilwoman. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Back in, and Ms. Hewitt, take it away.
Got it, thank you, Mayor. What we'll do is we'll basically start retestify, we'll rescreen and make sure we affirm that. And then again, if there's anybody else from the staff or anybody else that needs to be sworn in, we can do it all at the same time. Whoever's gonna testify, if you'll stand, if you'll raise your right hand. Sheet, same thing. Any testimony that you would give to council regarding the special use matter, be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so you got anything to you. All right, at this point, consider yourself under oath, and what you do is, we turn it back over to the applicant, let you proceed, and then whatever else you have for the council.
Good evening.
Hey.
I've submitted, I think, what was requested. I know that there may have been some more questions, but I did submit the, dimensions of the 2 mobile units that would be used as the men's and women's dorm. I'm not sure from there where we need to go.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Do we have any more questions directly for the applicant? And then we had some information from staff to share as far as some of the questions we had related to the application.
All right, name, position,
Brandon Barbie, Assistant Fire Chief. Good. So council, looked at this from the fire code standpoint, and on the fire code side, it will be permissible as long as it meets 11 very stringent qualifications and requirements, so forth as amount of time that this place can be open. It cannot be open 365 days a year per the fire code. So there is requirements for that as well. And also that's going to be really difficult to track. That would require some type of mapping system, tracking systems, a data calendar, something like that. Also having trained staff on site. So they're required to have 2 adults, 21 years of age or older, that will have to be trained in some type of fire safety provisions and stay awake at all times while this place is in operation. So it does get pretty strict, and I'll have a copy of the fire code for you if y'all prefer to see that.
Thank you very much. Staff?
questions? Good. Questions, Mr. Burke? Good.
No.
All right. Chief, name and address.
Jamie Hughes, police chief. So basically, I've got a couple of concerns with this. Biggest being is we're seeing a big influx in homeless. Most of them will be dealt with census users. Recent as today, we actually arrested somebody that was homeless that was wanted by the U.S. Marshals. They've been about Another concern is we have numerous homeless camps in that general area at the request of landowners. And the amount of trash that's left behind for landowners to have to pick up, pay somebody to pick up, it is really devastating. There was also, the hearing previous to this one, I understood that there were another 7 people, regardless if they had been consuming alcohol or controlled substances. That is a huge, huge problem as far as bringing somebody in without them. You take one intoxicated person or somebody high.
council have any other questions for either staff? All right, thank you.
Ma'am, do you have any questions to Chief Martin or Chief Hughes? And council has no questions from our two chiefs, right? All right, ma'am.
I think that those are very valid concerns. That is a lot of the things that, Joco Dream Center through the homeless outreach that we are working to address is the fact that there is a high incidence of either mental health issues or substance abuse in our homeless population. They were there before we started doing this outreach. We just started to locate them and started to address and the issues that are going on. We have spent 5 years working with a lot of these people. We have actually we've lost about 10 or 12 in these 5 years to violence or overdose. We understand what's going on out there. A little bit about me. I'm not just somebody who decided one day I wanted to help the homeless. I have a past, a history. I was an addict. I was an alcoholic. I am a certified peer support specialist. I am a certified mental health coach. I do understand what they're going through. I've lost a brother and a sister to overdose. I've lost a father and an aunt to suicide. So I understand the mental health piece. I understand the addiction piece. So a lot of what we do is building relationships, earning trust out there on the streets so that we can find out what's going on in their lives, what put them in this position. They didn't wake up one morning and decide I want to be an addict. None of them. Abuse, abandonment, rejection, mental health issues, lots of different things. Domestic violence. 92% of the women out there have experienced domestic violence. 50% of them says that is the direct cause of their homelessness. So if we don't address those issues first, you're never going to get them out of the homeless situation or out of their addiction and keep them out of it. So that's one of the things that Temple City is good about. We have a Recovery Alive program. We've opened 3 sober living homes in this county. We are working to address that issue. We address mental health issues. We are doing the mental health coaching classes and equipping people not on a professional level, but on a lower level to be able to talk to people about some of this abuse and trauma that's going in their lives, and then trying to get them referred to other clinical licensed counselors who can help them move forward. I spend every Wednesday in one of those mobile units with our people coming in and talking to them, referring them out for housing or employment or taking them to treatment centers. We will take them to a detox center and then help them get into a Hope Center, which we have 2 coming to Johnston County in the next year, or sending them to Healing Transitions. So this isn't about just feeding them and keeping them fat and happy. We want to see them move forward. We want to see them do different. And I can tell you that sometimes that doesn't happen overnight. We've spent, the first person that comes to mind is a young man named Colton. We spent 9 months every time we would meet him. Colton, when you're ready for treatment, let us know. When you're ready for treatment, let us know. One night we were heading into the parking lot, getting ready for outreach, and he came running across the parking lot, waving his arms and screaming, and I thought something bad had happened. He said, "You promised me when I was ready for treatment that you would take me." He said, take me now, because if you wait till later, I may not go, but if you'll take me now. He spent 9 months at Healing Transitions, and he is now today at home raising his little boy. And we've got story after story like that. So this is not just we thought about this one day and decided that this would be a great idea. We've got well over 2,000 volunteer hours last year for our Dream Center for the homeless outreach piece. We do a lot of different things. Food pantry, clothing closet, transitions home for women and children coming out of domestic violence. So we are well versed in a lot of the things that can happen. And Chief, I understand, you're right, that could be a place for disaster. But we also have built so much of a rapport with our people, they do respect us. And if they get together and they're misbehaving, they respect us enough that at least we feel like we can talk to them to some extent and work that out. We also will work on de-escalation training. I'm not blind to the things. I want you to understand that I'm not blind to what could happen. But I also know too, we're right there on the edge, right beside the police department. It's right across the parking lot. And we have no qualms about calling if we needed that. But a lot of times, you know, they call us and I'm cold. I just want somewhere to lay down. If we can get them off the street for that night, they're not breaking into places. They're not tying up your EMS or your emergency rooms. They're coming in and they're going to eat a bag meal and they're going to go lay down. And we've got guidelines. So the manual that you have, it was a small snippet. I've got a full manual that I've put together. And I can leave a copy with you if you'd like. But it addresses a lot of that. There is a guideline sheet that they will sign that tells them what they can and cannot do. And once they come in the door, they're not coming, if they go outside, they're not coming back in. So you may come in intoxicated, we're gonna search your bag. If there's anything in the bag you're taking to the bed with you that's contraband, it's not gonna be there. You're not taking it in with you. And if you have extra stuff that's not needed, it's gonna be in a different room where you're not at, where no one has access to it, because we're not gonna let weapons, we're not gonna let drug paraphernalia and alcohol come in. If you've consumed it out there, you've consumed it out there. As long as you come in and you're doing the right thing, I'll give you a safe place to sleep for the night. And again, that frees up resources for you guys so that you can do the hard work that's going on out there. So I just want you to know, we're not just thinking, oh, this is a great idea. We've been doing this for 5 years. We've been going into the woods under the railroad tracks, knocking on car doors, in the middle of the night, feeding people and taking care of them. But more than that, we've been working to move them forward, not leave them stuck where they are. And so.
Do you want to introduce the manual as additional evidence?
Absolutely, if you'd like a copy.
Sure. Let me have it.
Sure.
And all the two will affirm the record is in the agendas, pages 59 to 76. That has been received in the evidence. In addition, we've received the manual dated January 2024 from our applicant. Is there anything else in terms of documents you'd like to introduce?
No, I have no further documents. There is one more thing I would like to address, and that is the trash issue. We are well aware that is a tremendous problem. Part of the issue is and some of this is not, you know, sometimes they create their own messes, and this is not going to apply to that. But there are a lot of them out there who try to keep their camps clean, but they have nowhere to put the trash. If they put it in a private dumpster, then they can get arrested for that and get fined for that. That is something we have to work on, because we've had a lot of, you know, businesses say you can't put your trash in here to our people who have threatened to call the police and different things on them. So we do have to find an answer to that. I don't have one for that today. But you know, if you're in a house, if you're housed, you're paying utilities, you're paying for trash service. They are unhoused, so therefore they don't have that opportunity. So that is something that we as a community, not just Selma, but all of the community, we're going to have to address that. And I agree, and that is one thing we talk to them about on a regular basis, and I give them trash bags, but they can bag it up, but they have nowhere to put it. And so that is an issue that we do, I think, as a community need to work on to help them be able to do better.
Good. Questions of council for the applicant?
Question?
I do.
Yes, sir.
I have one. If I could, a special use permit application. And here's, page, 2 of 12 in our package is 60 of 182. Page 60 of 182. The application is saying, unless I'm confused and I'm lost, explain the project. Use existing structure of Temple City Church to serve as an emergency severe weather shelter for homeless individuals when the weather meets the guidelines in the attached document. Is this just for weather, bad weather, or you want?
That is correct, yes, sir. It is just from the period of November through March. It's just when the temperatures meet certain, it's in that manual, certain guidelines. So it'd be 32 or below. I think it's 35 or below if there's persistent or heavy precipitation, or 38 or below with a windshield that would bring it down to 32. It is only on those nights. It is much less than 150 or than 300. I think the fire code might have said 150 nights or something. It should be much less than that. I think I looked, and I think Selma has about an average of 73 nights that would have fallen into that on an average.
So severe weather is more than just electric storms, you're talking about heat, no?
It is, and it's defined in the manual. So again, it's that, or if there is a hurricane, a tropical storm, or forecasted severe tornado. So we're looking at probably like a level 4, level 5 risk factor. But if it were tornadoes, hurricanes, or tropical storms, it will not be in those mobile units. They're not fit for that kind of weather. We would probably be in the gymnasium. And I don't know if that would be an overnight situation, during the day situation. That's sort of an as needed. What we're focusing on the most, though, is the cold weather, because we did have 2 people this year ended up in ICU from hypothermia early on in the year. It wasn't a very cold year, but yes, because of their addictions, the alcohol consumption, that does put them at a higher risk out there. That was their case. They had consumed alcohol. One person had consumed alcohol, another one just has health issues, but they both ended up in ICU due to hypothermia.
What happens with these individuals after if they were to take advantage of this shelter? What would happen after a night at the shelter?
Sure. So we go out around, the proposal is that we would go out around 8:30 on the van and pick them up at public locations. We would bring them to the shelter. So it's not a wandering around on the campus. They would come to the shelter, enter the shelter, have their bags searched, eat a meal, lights out at 11 o'clock. So there's not a lot of time. And if they go, once they've registered, there's no going out to smoke. Once you're registered, you're staying in that building, because there's not an opportunity to pick up something you may have stashed or whatever. I mean, we think about those things. At 6 a.m., we wake them up. We get them, they'll pack up their bedding. We'll stack the mattresses, whatever. We'll give them something small for breakfast, cereal bars or something to that effect. And then at 7:30, we will load them back on the vans and take them back to where we pick them up from. So they're not walking around that part of town. They're not in the community, just wandering. I mean, we're going to take them back. And yes, we may go to Selma, or Smithfield, or we may go to Kinley and pick them up from their camp, but that's where we're going to take them back to as well. We are not busing them in. I want you to hear that. We're not busing them in. They're already here. They're just hiding in plain sight. And I can ride you down the road all day long and point out, not people I know, but we've met a lot of new people. In the last, 30 days, we've probably had 25 new people, and it has nothing to do with us. It's just, they're coming. I mean, they're everywhere. They're losing their housing. They're coming from other states. We've had a Selma officer bring us a young mom who left domestic violence in New York, and she had a 10-month-old baby and was pregnant. She went as far as her money would take her, and he brought her to us because he's like, I don't know what to do with her. The only thing I can do is just let her walk the streets. We took her home because it was a weekend and there's no shelters open at that time. I took her home and let her spend the weekend with me until Monday morning when I could get her into my sister's house in Rocky Mount. I mean, these are the kinds of things we do all the time because we don't have enough resources in this area. So.
If they were to bring, say, contraband or something with them and then get here and refuse to part with it to go into the trailer, what then happens?
They would not be allowed to stay for the night. That's just not an option. So we would take them back. And when we transport with 2 people. So we understand the safety issues. When we go out on outreach, we always have a minimum of 2 people. So 2 people would take them back to where we pick them up from, and they'll have to figure it out for themselves that night.
Further questions?
Yeah, I got some. So
Yes, sir.
we're talking 2 mobiles, right?
Yes, sir.
Is the mobiles equipped with showers and stuff?
So we do not offer showers. They do not have showers in them. We do currently have a mobile shower unit. We're using that at the Resource Center on Wednesdays. We would not make showers available to them on a shelter night. That is not something, that would not be our focus. Our focus is just to give them a safe, warm place to sleep for that few hours until the next day. So during the daytime, there are businesses that are open and different things that they can find a way to keep warm. But at night, everything's closed. There's not a lot of places to go. And rather than tie up your emergency rooms or breaking into buildings or abandoned houses or whatever, we're just trying to give them a safe place to be.
So you're not feeding them either?
We feed them a bag meal, yes, sir.
A bag meal?
Yes, sir. And we are not equipped for children, and so the minimum age there is 18. So if they have children, we will work to find them different resources, but we're not equipped to handle that.
The one thing that I've sat here and thought about, I've listened to our assistant fire chief and our police chief, who are professionals.
Yes, ma'am.
And you say, once they get in, if they want a cigarette, they can't go back out. They can't go back to their bag, retrieve a cigarette, and go outside and smoke.
That's right.
You have a minimum of 2 unprofessionals who take possibly their life into their own hands. It's not like I'm hanging out with cigarette smokers, but I do know some, and they're not going to wait till 6 o'clock the next day to smoke a cigarette. And I'm just saying, just as Chief says, the issues that could arise from an overnight situation like this, because it does sound like the community does have shelters.
I understand your point. We do share that information with them. We will share that information with them before they come. We've been talking to them off and on about this shelter for a while. If they want to come and be warm, that's a choice they'll have to make, smoke or not smoke. Now, there will be a monitor outside. They can stand outside and smoke until, but by 10:30, you've got to be in line for registration. If you're not in that line by 10:30, you're not going to register that night, which means you're going to have to leave the premises. And if we take that means we're going to take you back. That means we'll take you back. But it's 10:30 is in line for registration. 11 o'clock is lights out. I mean, that's our guidelines. There is a document they will sign to that effect. It's the last page in the manual. And, we may not be professionals, but I do believe that we can do this in a manner that is safe and secure. And will things come up that maybe we have not prepared for or planned for? Yes, ma'am. And that's going to happen even in a professional location. I've been to Healing Transitions and toured with them, and they shared some of those things with us. So this is not just something we dreamed up. We have tried to do some research and do some homework to know what we're dealing with. I've been to West Virginia. There is a mission in West Virginia that has a recovery center. I have gone and toured that recovery center. That is something that may be on the radar at some point in the future. But right now it's one day at a time. How do we get them focused on getting better instead of just existing? And when you're on the streets and you can't trust your neighbor to not steal everything you've got when you walk up to the store to get a bottle of water, or you can't lay down and go to sleep for fear that somebody's going to break into your tent and stab you, it's very difficult to consider how you could move forward. It's just survival mode. So right now we're trying to show them there is a way. You can do something different. And this is just one of the ways we're attempting that. I may not have all of the answers at this moment, but I can tell you that as things arise, we will deal with it. And we will train our volunteers and our staff, if we are fortunate enough at some point to have paid staff, to be able to do and handle and de-escalate these situations and these issues. I will be one of the main staff people there on a regular basis. I do have 2 others who are right behind me in line who are taking the same trainings, and they've been just as involved in this outreach and working with our homeless as I have been from day one. So for the whole 5+ years we've been doing this. And we are willing to learn. I want to be teachable. And so I have no problems whatsoever to continue speaking to other shelters who are doing this, and learning from them anything that we need to know that we may not know today. As far as shelters in this area, overnight shelters, I have searched and called. I know that Smithfield Rescue Mission did open a White Flag shelter. My understanding is they had 4 beds available, and it was a high barrier, so there would be no intoxication, they could not have had consumed alcohol. And that is fantastic, and I understand their purpose for that because they are a recovery center. They're working on helping those men over there recover. We're just trying to get you ready to say you want recovery. And right now, so we're working with a different population. We're working with a population who isn't ready yet, or who doesn't know how to say, I'm ready, can you get me some help yet? So those are the ones we're trying to work with, so that maybe one day they can go into the rescue mission. I would love that. If he's got an open bed and we've got somebody ready, we do refer over there quite often. So, I mean, we're willing to work with whatever shelters are in place already. And I can assure you, knowing how many we work with each month, we couldn't hold all of them that wanted to come to the White Flag shelter. We're going to have to turn some away. That's fine. But we will work to find them resources if possible.
So you saying you guys are the only shelter now that's doing this?
To my knowledge, we would be the only low barrier White Flag shelter in this area. So the difference between low barrier and high barrier. Low barrier says if you're intoxicated, if you're using drugs, not using in the shelter, but if you've been down the road and you've smoked pot or meth or whatever, and you want to come in and go to sleep, we're not going to turn you away as long as you're behaving yourself. High barrier usually requires a form of ID. We don't necessarily have to have a picture ID. They will, if you've been using or have any intoxication, they don't allow you in most of the time because they are working with recovery. If you've got a background, an open warrant or something, sometimes they want a background check. I'm not sure 100% of what Smithfield Rescue Mission asked. I just know that they said that they were high barrier, which that is what that generally means. So we would be a different form of shelter than what, as far as I understand, is currently operating.
I've volunteered many times over at the Smithfield Rescue Mission, and those are people who are definitely out and about. You have to let those people know you are actively looking for employment. These are people who are on their way. I don't think of homelessness when I think of the Smithfield Rescue Mission, of what I've seen. This, what you're talking about, to me, they're homeless people, and it's not the same thing.
That's correct. We are working with unsheltered people, most of whom have an addiction issue, a substance use disorder, and or a mental health issue. And a lot of times they self-medicate their mental health issues. They do need treatment. Some of them don't have any idea how to get that. We've got a family right now of 6 who are from New York who have no IDs. So we are working, trying to help them get IDs because they can't move forward in any direction without that. Even community outreach, community action is requiring some form of ID. So we have been buying birth certificates and those kinds of things. So you're correct. We are working with truly unsheltered people who are still in active addiction or who have possibly an untreated mental illness, who need help. And that is what our goal is. The more interaction we have with them, the more relationship we build with them and trust we earn with them, the more opportunity we have to say, this would make your life better, and hear them say, yes, you're right, and I'm ready to try it. And that happens not as often as we would like, but we have helped. In 5 years, we've probably gotten 20 of them out of this community in a positive fashion, either in a treatment facility or they've gone back home to family, different things like that. So, and it takes time to work with them. It doesn't happen overnight. And we actually, one of the men that we have served for quite a bit, Mr. David, is actually living in the Smithfield Rescue Mission at this point. And he's a wonderful man, and he attends temple and was singing in the choir for a period of time. So, you know, we do understand the difference of what's happening at the Smithfield Rescue Mission.
Any other comments as part of the
I'm
public?
gonna go one more and then I'll stop. So you have no concern of your church members catching any kind of disease whatsoever?
The mobile units are not generally used for that. We do occasionally use them for a youth or maybe a Bible study, but it's a rare thing. That's why they are being used, because they're more accessible, there's less happening in there. And we do have a cleaning protocol, which is in the manual.
That's
So,
why it's sanitizer.
yes, sir, we
I'm
will.
not sure sanitizer would take care of it.
It's rated for COVID-19 and for norovirus, which is acceptable in most healthcare settings.
I have
This may be a question, Chip. Maybe I should refrain from voting since we have property, there and have some, for me, just serious concerns about safety of the people that work for us because, we're there on and off in the middle of the night. Sometimes the ladies are by themselves and, just the nature of our business makes me feel a little nervous about it. So
Good
maybe,
question, and their recusal is a direct pecuniary interest in the subject matter.
Okay.
What's before you. And the fact that you own property in close proximity is not a grounds to recuse yourself. Having said that, if you feel compelled to do so, you can ask council to recuse you, but it is not grounds to recuse you under the law.
Well, as part of comments and to piggyback on what you're saying, we have to look at a special use permit based on these findings of fact that are listed here for us, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's really, you know, whether or not we approve of or disapprove of the actual practice, what we have to consider are these findings of fact that are before us. And quite frankly, walking through them, the development will not endanger the public health or safety. So immediately to your concern, and a concern that I share as well, safety, public health, particularly in an area that is fairly commercial with neighborhoods right around the corner and a staff that is admittedly volunteer and not fully trained to handle, quite frankly, what may be severe mental illness, severe drug addiction, severe alcoholism. I would say that it would endanger public health. The development will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property. Again, to Chief Hughes' point, we've already seen in the area where we've had to clean up quite a few areas with around the commercial buildings on a regular basis to make sure that the places were inhabitable, not to mention the calls from the people living in the neighborhood about the encampments that are behind the buildings. And with this being the only shelter of that sort in Johnston County, it to me, and I hate to say it this way, it would almost become a magnet for, again, greater problems, greater concerns, and become the regular place to hang around in a very centralized commercial area. So for me, with the finding of fact, number 1 and number 2 alone, I would say it would substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property and would endanger public health or safety. In a different location, might be a different conversation, but that is a very commercial area with 2 shopping centers right there, a funeral home across the street, and a neighborhood right behind those shopping centers. A neighborhood where we get quite a few complaints and concerns about the folks that are encamped behind those commercial areas. So that's my piece for the public piece of this. Do we?
Mayor, if I may, any rebuttal from Assistant Chief, any rebuttal? Good? No rebuttal? All right, we've heard from our applicant, and I take it there's no other evidence. We've received the manual and evidence. So, Mayor, at this point, if council, if you want to close the evidentiary portion, close the quasi, and then we'll deliberate. And council's benefit, page 76 is what the mayor was reading off of. The applicant is required to prove all four findings of fact by substantial competent material evidence. And again, that's for each of the four. So it would require a vote on the four and then whether we approve or deny the issue, Mayor. Good?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Very much. So do I have a motion to close this portion of the evidentiary public hearing?
So moved.
That's a,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing is closed, and now we have to take up each individual finding of fact.
Yes, sir, for the record, because what happens with the court, if you approve three and deny one, the court wants to know which one.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yes, sir.
So, with that, first, we have the development will not endanger the public health or safety. In the form of a motion, do we need a motion to agree or a motion up or down?
Yes, sir.
All
Yeah,
right, so do we have a motion down disagreeing with that number one? The development will not endanger the public health or safety. I have a motion saying that we disagree with that statement.
Let's get this straight. So you're saying,
So how do you want
actually,
that?
the motion is that you believe it will endanger
The public
health.
safety. So do I have a motion stating that we believe it will endanger the public health or safety?
so move.
second.
Is there any discussion? I want to look at these very carefully. All those in favor of that statement?
Aye.
Aye. Number two, do I have a motion stating that we believe the development will substantially injure the value of the adjoining or abutting property? Will substantially injure the value of the adjoining or abutting property?
It has possibility. I mean,
Do I have a motion to that effect? No rush. Do we have a motion saying the development will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property?
I'm thinking about
It's
where
hard.
it is.
Yeah.
This is very difficult,
it is.
but I'm
and-
thinking about where it is, where this big business is. And then you've got all these businesses here. And the only thing really separating you is a ditch.
And I think sometimes I think about, I should have to get back into discussion, but
Oh, yeah.
my experience with travel, my son lived in Seattle for a long time. And I watched his neighborhood change as the homeless people gathered in the, anywhere they could find a patch of grass, basically. And the value of his house was affected when he got ready to sell. And so it's a hard thing. I admire what you're trying to do, but I'm just a little fearful of it. I mean, you know, and when I speak of the girls going in and out at night at the funeral home, they're, you know, licensed people, but they're by themselves. And we've had 2 instances already where one was sleeping over in our bushes behind their chapel, and one right by the door where the girl got out of the car to go in the back door of the office, and there was somebody sleeping right there. Frightened her. So I worry about them, and I know. I think what scares me, though, is they get used to coming there, because we get mistaken for temple all the time, and they'll come in looking for food or money, and we're like, you need to be across the street at temple. So, you know, it's these things that go on in my mind. I really admire what you're trying to do, but I just am a little fearful.
I agree, Susan.
Do we have a motion, the development will substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property? Will injure the value of adjoining or abutting property?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
The development will be in harmony with the area in which it is located. Do I have a motion, and quite frankly, with Temple Church already serving as it does serve. Do I have a motion that the development will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located?
I do.
So moved?
Yes.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? We agree with that statement. The development will be in general conformity with the future land use plan, thoroughfare plan, or other plan specifically adopted by the town council.
But we're not yet.
I would say that, I take a motion for it, the development will not be in general conformity with the future land use plan, thoroughfare plan, or other plan specifically adopted by the town council. Do I have a motion to that effect? Will not be in general conformity.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion there?
I just think about the changes that are coming, so I agree with it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
What else do you need from us?
Mayor, at this point in that all the findings of fact are not approved, it would be appropriate for council to make a motion to deny the SUP in its entirety.
Council, do I have a motion to deny this SUP for Joco Dream Center in its entirety?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for your time. All right, we've got another hearing, I believe, for Eastfield Associates, a rezoning hearing. Staff, what do we have on this? Mike, please, by all means. Mr. Woodard, come on up.
No, legislative, you're good to go.
So we have an action agenda item. The issue/action requested is asking for the approval of the rezoning request petitioned by Eastfield Associates LLC to rezone from residential agricultural to industrial, or our I2 zoning. The background/purpose of the request: Town Council voluntarily annexed 7 parcels of land owned by Eastfield Associates within the RA zoning district in March of this year, 2024. This request is to rezone the 7 parcels to mirror the I2 district, zoning district of the contiguous land owned by Eastfield Associates. You can find the map on page 82 of your packet, showing those 7 parcels that were annexed and are now in question to be rezoned. And the advisory board recommendation. The Town of Selma Planning Board unanimously recommended this rezoning request petitioned by Eastfield Associates during their regular session on April 22nd, 2024. And on page 86, you will see the signed consistency/reasonableness statement. And that was signed by Todd Holmes, the chair of the planning board. Let's see. And in the staff report on staff comments on page 85, staff believes this zoning map amendment is in harmony with the future land use plan and other properties owned by Eastfield and Associates. In the staff report, you'll see multiple objectives are listed where multiple objectives were listed outlining the goals and objectives of the future land use plan. And we know the land use plan was adopted in 2021, so this is kind of where the town stands on, where they feel with that. But it is worth noting that the parcels proposed for this zoning map amendment are not labeled any future zoning district, because at the time the future land use map was created, these parcels were not annexed into the town. However, these parcels are directly adjacent to the industrial district as shown in the map.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions, Council? Do I have a motion to approve the rezoning request related to these parcels? Eastfield Associates?
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
Right.
Oh, I apologize. We need to open a public, actually, we need to open a public hearing? That's right. Thank you. I'm just rolling through here, aren't I? So first, let me back it up.
yes, sir.
We'll take that motion completely off the table. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing related to the rezoning request for Eastfields and Associates?
So moved. Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We got a public hearing open. Would anybody like to comment as part of the public hearing? Yes, sir.
And Mayor, while he's walking up, what we will say is, Mr. Winter's comments given to council be incorporated into the public hearing, as presented.
Excellent. All right. Yes, sir.
Thank you
And
for
name and
giving-
address for the record?
My name is Mike Renfro, 63 US Highway 70A in Pine Bluff, North Carolina. Thank you for the opportunity to come before. I talked to Mr. Woodard today, and he included, he gave me some information on what I-2 is. And I guess heavy industry is what you're looking to rezone, RA property into I-2. So that being said, we're looking at a parcel of land that's been a farm for the last many, many years. It's surrounded on three sides by farmland. It's surrounded by residential homes, farm homes. And, you know, when you came in March and annexed was it 7 pieces of property? There wasn't a lot of conversation about that because the landowners that adjoined didn't know anything about it. And we found out since then that municipalities are able to do things like that. That being said, I've come before you as a property owner adjacent to this that is worried that, you know, we're gonna look at more traffic coming in. We got a school that's a half a mile down the road, Pine Level Elementary School. You're coming almost to the city limits of Pine Level, within 200-300 yards, which is the ETJ is gone. That Pine Level had, and it's sort of, you know, it's going to burden us a little bit. We have a business that's an agricultural business that's adjacent to this property. Alto, I think Susan's been there many times over the years. And I want to read down some of the things that heavy industry or I-2 allows to happen. It could be a bulk petroleum station. It could be a textile manufacturing company. Could be a canning manufacturing company. It could be a trucking terminal. It could be a railway yard. And the list goes on. There's many more things it could be that he shared with me today. I'm saying as a landowner that represents, my wife couldn't be here tonight. My mother-in-law, who's an industrial property owner, is not able to be here due to health issues. But being said, if you guys would think about where you live, and if you were going to wake up tomorrow and, you know, a quarter of a mile from your house is going to be an I-2 zone commercial heavy industry property, how would you guys feel? So that's the point I'm trying to make tonight. So keep that in mind. The people that are surrounding that area, you know, that's what they're worried about. A couple of them said they couldn't be here tonight, neighbors. I reached out to them and they said, man, it's a done deal. Why are you wasting your time? I said, we got an opportunity to talk about it. So that's why I'm here.
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate the forum, and I will hope to take these things into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else that would like to speak as part of the public hearing? With that, do I have a motion to close this public hearing related to the rezoning of these parcels?
So nice. Oh,
Oh, well, if you want to put it on record as part of the public hearing, by all means.
Yeah, I apologize.
So we'll leave it
No
up.
worries, no
Yeah,
worries.
After you.
I just wanted to say, Mike, thank you for coming. And, you know, Johnston County is growing and we're all feeling that pain of watching our farmland disappear. And, I kind of think about you guys because when Chris and I built our house in Princeton, we were on a dead-end street, quiet street. Next thing you know, the county came and put a big football stadium in the street. So every Friday night, I had a lively traffic flow and all kinds of bullhorns and cheerleaders, and so I understand. There's no easy answer. It's just really, it's a hard place to be. County's changing real quick, but just wanted to thank you for coming, and I hear you. I know, I agree.
Anybody else is part of the public hearing? Do I have a motion to close the public?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now we go back to where we were. Do we have a motion to approve the rezoning of these parcels? Any questions?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we have a rezoning. Thank you. Okay, and then that moves us on to another text amendment from planning. You wanna come on back up to the podium, Mr. Woodard?
Public hearing.
Oh, wow.
Sounds like a hurricane.
Fire.
Hmm?
Public
This would be too.
hearing. You gonna open it up?
Not yet. We'll let them up. So, Mr. Wood, if you would, just give us a brief overview of what we're looking at, and then we'll open up the public hearing.
All right, so this is item 7E in the agenda. We have another action agenda item. The issue slash action requested is an approval of the ordinance text amendment related to gas station canopy heights.
With this, council, do I have a motion to open the public hearing related to gas station canopy heights?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we got a public hearing open, and if you would, so we put this on as part of this public hearing record as well.
Yes, so on that same planning board meeting on April 22nd, the planning board, let's see, they unanimously recommended this ordinance text amendment related to gas station canopy heights at their meeting, and that consistency statement and reasonableness statement were signed by Todd Holmes, the chair. A little overview, the background and the purpose of this request is developers are bound to a canopy height requirement at a maximum of 15 feet. Existing surrounding fuel station canopies are equal to or exceeding the primary building's height. The maximum building height requirement will remain the same. However, eliminating the canopy height requirement will allow new developers to expand their development. So currently, let's see. Yeah, so they're wanting to allow the fuel pump canopies shall not exceed the height of the roof of the primary building it serves. Meaning, if the building is 30 feet high, canopy can match the height of the building, but it can't exceed it. Because there have been applications of people wanting to extend that canopy height. New businesses coming into town, feeling it's restrictive.
Okay. So that would scratch that language?
Yes, sir.
Do we have any questions for staff?
I do. Yes, sir. You got it. Yes, sir. It did make it to the agenda. Yeah, thought that. Okay. That's something we can add if we need to.
Yeah. We need to make sure you have the ordinance. You
Yeah,
have a
we
copy.
definitely don't have the ordinance.
It's not in here. Yeah, the staff.
So I certainly would not suggest we go forward without the ordinance in front of us and in hand, just for procedural purposes.
Agree.
Any recommendation on that?
Is there any rushes or? Any rush?
There's, we've got one request right now. National chain, that's this same canopy everywhere. But again, we feel like there are existing gas stations that are not meeting the code way back recently. There's no big hurry on this.
Table it to the meeting one. You can put it on your consent agenda if you like the ordinance, where you can actually have another review of it and then actually vote.
Okay. We'll do that just to make sure.
We can go ahead and send that out to you for your review. Apologize that it didn't make it into. It's the staff report, but that's not part of it.
That's all right, that's all right. Well, do I have a motion to table this public hearing until our meeting one in June?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll table that. And let's go down into the budget. So we need to actually just go ahead and open a public hearing related to the FY 24-25 budget, particularly to get citizen comment about budget information. So do I have a motion to open our public hearing related to our FY 24-25 budget?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Got a hearing open.
All right.
Chief, take it away.
Philip McDaniel, 307 East Pelham Street, so, appreciate y'all's time. I'm just gonna kick it off and, answer any questions ahead, and then I'll sit down and let anybody speak who wants to. I'd like to take this time to present to you all the proposed 24-25 Town of Selma budget. It's been my pleasure and the staff's pleasure to work with all these town departments, boards, and council to identify the needs and goals of the town for the upcoming fiscal year while setting up for our exciting future. The recommended 24-25 budget herewith submitted is in accordance with the local government budget and fiscal act. The overall budget across all funds is $26,295,912 this year. And that's all funds, restricted and unrestricted. The suggested budget does keeps the property tax rate at the current rate of 60 cents per $100 valuation with no increase, as well as all electric rates at current levels. To keep up with the rising cost of water and sewer, a 6% rate increase on sewer and a 3.5% increase on water rate is recommended, as well as a capital reserve fee added to sanitation. Our most valuable asset is our dedicated staff. We strive to reward well-trained staff and understand and carry out our mission every day. The suggested budget includes a 5% cost of living adjustment and a 1% increase to the North Carolina 401 contribution that we're currently at 3%. In closing, our town is strong and in an excellent position for the future. As we ensure this recommended budget meets the needs for the next 12 months, we will continually monitor our effectiveness in executing our 25 budget and prepare for the coming growth Selma is experiencing. We also remember the past and the situations that have caused shortfalls that we have struggled to overcome. It's been the staff's pleasure to gather this information and to recommend this budget to the council, but available for any follow-up questions that may arise.
Thank you, Chief. Council? Questions to start off? As part of the public hearing, would anybody in the audience like to speak? Mr. Richard. And again, name and address for the record one more time. Yes, sir.
Tim Richard, 204 Second Avenue, Selma. Where do I get a report that you folks are making look through all the numbers that you folks have or going through? How can I get a copy of that?
The entire budget is posted on the proposed budget is posted on our website. And we
Can I get a paper copy somehow?
yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Stop by and see me.
I would definitely will, sir.
Paper copy.
Okay, now,
What you'll be getting will not be the adopted budget, it's the proposed budget.
it's what you have.
Right. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that's fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Anybody else as part of the public hearing? Do I have a motion to close the public hearing related to our FY 25 budget?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing is closed. All right. Do you need anything else from us on that front?
No, sir, unless there's any recommendations, also we got, just as a reminder, I've heard it say it 3 times, Jim Statute says you gotta, hold this public hearing and get an approved budget by June 30th. Tax office needs it by actually the 21st. So, so they can prepare for the new year. Your earliest you could adopt this budget legally would be meeting number 2 in June. discussion, changes that are needed. We would really love to have, obviously, you do what you want to on that night, but we'd really love to have you as close as a finished document as we can.
Yes, sir. So no business items to address. Do we have anything to add as far as town attorney's report?
All good.
Council members' report and recommendations. We got some of those. Let's switch up a little bit. Let's start with Councilman, are we okay if we start with Councilman Overby?
I'm fine.
My man, let's start with Councilman Overby. We'll come around.
So first of all, I appreciate all the hard work you've done on the budget, the whole staff that's worked on it. We appreciate that as well. I'm gonna go back to the one that I've been asking about. I'd like to know what our update is on the evict sign going up. Is that is that in a position that is gonna go up, be placed on our streets?
So, we are, the Bears Commission, we're stopped right there.
Okay, so I'm gonna help you a little bit. I'm making a motion that we put it up within the next 30 days.
Second.
I got a motion and second on the table.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Yeah.
The Bears Commission requested that an additional sign came up. Just want to clarify that council understands that and
I understand,
guide you where you want to get it.
I understand, but it's deadlocked.
Sir?
It's deadlocked, okay?
At what point do they send their, recommendation here?
I think they were waiting on the store. What was the crowd that asked they were asking for them to come back, and I understand they were planning to come back. They were doing this. So I don't know that it was they were gonna come back to the Appearance Commission. So they just kind of let it take.
So it's gotta go to historic, is that what we're talking about? And then appearance?
No,
Same
same board.
Gina.
So what they're saying, if I understand correctly, is that the county historic was going to bring it back. And they have not come back. Is that what I'm understanding?
So you basically don't have a recommendation from the peers. But I've never run into this before, but I think have to happen.
Nope.
Well,
I'm thinking, if we got these committees spaced out, and we said, we want to give them the opportunity to submit us their findings of, then they say, we submit it to you. I think we undercut them on that, what have we need committees for? My thing is to come out of committee, making a suggestion, whether their opinion, what they want, but, yeah or nay, then we could vote on it, but not to just say, we're not gonna worry about the committee suggest to us. It's like, we don't need a committees.
We've been waiting 2 months.
Yeah, but we don't need a committee. We got
Well,
a committee though.
in fact, I guess we've got a motion and a second, so this is our discussion as part of this. I would say that, from what I understand, I mean, we're waiting for the board to come back with whatever information was requested. So, from my standpoint, again, as we're saying, even if we do have a different opinion of what the board is, the board hasn't even gotten to the end of their deliberations of what has been presented to them initially. So for instance, now, I don't think this falls under COA territory, does it? Or does it?
It is a seal, whatever
Ooh.
request is certificate of appropriateness.
So I don't think we can disagree with the certificate of appropriateness off the bat. I do think that's a legislative statute thing. Am I confused?
It's a little bit different because this wouldn't come to y'all. A certificate of appropriateness is learn as goes.
Okay.
But a
I'm learning
certificate of
too.
appropriateness is actually issued by that.
That's right.
Historic properties. So it's a little different than like a planning board like we do pretty much every month. You guys get a recommendation that you can deny or agree with and put into legislative. But on the COA is actually issued and signed by that board. So
Which
I
board?
don't have a good answer.
The appearance
board?
commission.
Appearance Commission.
So, and I would say, just as, you know, we had folks that weren't able to attend this public hearing for a couple of properties that we were discussing today, we should not be in a rush to do anything. Couple of months is nothing for the
Well-
appearance of our community.
I'm not trying to be in a rush when the two people are not talking. The two groups are not talking.
So have we made any request of the, I guess it's at Johnston County Historic?
That board asked for more information. Dog was in class this week, and he's probably had response. I understand where you're at, and, you know, this board makes a recommendation for a motion, carry it out to the T. But I would request, number one, that we get full information from our attorney to research the COAs and that responsibility, because they actually issue some a little different. And we've never really run into that. And then also follow up with, let you know, all the correspondence that have happened between, the county's historical. I'm sorry, I don't remember her name off the top of my head, that group, and our historical property commission.
If you can, if all I'm asking is the two boards to talk, okay? And if that's what it's, if this what it takes, then I'll ask the other council to say no, and this will fall off the table, okay? And, but I don't want it dropped.
Well, I think,
Our board has not dropped. My understanding is that county historic made a decision to store it, not go back. But the request is still there. They didn't withdraw it, but that was my understanding. So, I think y'all may have to shed the light on that.
So someone from Selma should be talking with the board. That's all I'm asking.
Can I just, I want to clear this up for everybody, because I'm not sure, I know that every town has, or I would think most towns would have a historic property commission. Now, does this county, you know, you've got the historic, center, Heritage Center in town. Yes, what Todd runs, and
They,
so is that a board?
they do not have a board that's the same as your historic properties. And in fact, every town does not have an historic properties
Right,
board.
I was thinking most,
You,
but,
you would only have an appearance or a historic properties board that takes care of historic properties if you have designated historic areas. So that's when that statutory piece comes into place, once those areas are established. And then this, state statute directs that you have to have a board that takes care of those historic properties. They would be the governing board, yes. But with that being said, as part of this discussion, I would caution you that we did a lot of things in the past in a rush, a whole lot of things. People bought us a lot of things that I would qualify as, for lack of a better word, garbage. And because we were excited to just go ahead and get it done, again, we ended up with little shacks that are called barbershops over here by the railroad track, and buildings that quite frankly weren't built to code or built in spots that they should not have been built without careful consideration and polish. So again, I think it's appropriate that we ask folks for information when they're coming to do something in the town of Selma. And then I think it's appropriate to require that they bring back that appropriate information before we make decisions about what's coming into the town of Selma.
I think the hardest thing about this one is that the rub, we might as well talk about it, is that the Appearance Commission doesn't approve of the word druggist on the sign, so they're requiring an addition to a really pretty $3,000 bronze sign, I don't know how you get more shiny than that, to define druggist, and it's gonna say pharmacist. But if you ask a pharmacist who's had any years of practice, they'll tell you that historically that sign is correct.
Well,
Druggist is the correct word, and the difference being,
but
a druggist knew how to compound medications, which is exactly what Mr. Vick did. A pharmacist counts pills all day on the clock,
I must admit,
and that's a difference.
I don't have any
Well-
feeling one way or another, but what I'm saying is that we put boards in place.
Absolutely.
And so my
But this
first,
is a
well,
lot.
let me ask this, do we have a picture of the sign?
It was in the, yes, sir, it was in the, minutes for that meeting, on that agenda. There was a picture.
Okay, so again, I would say that, I think we'd be hard pressed to, as a council, make a decision about what is put up in a historic district. But B, I would say that we also ask for the information ourselves if we want to consider it just the same.
But it sounds like we don't have a choice, that it's the decision of that appearance commission, correct?
I am not 100% on that again.
That's why we want our attorney.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we know the legal ins and outs. But again, like I said, I would never suggest that we come into a meeting like this and rush into anything without some remote understanding of what's
I
happening.
do not believe they actually made that decision, that says, hey, this is the final decision. Like, just like y'all can ask for more information, it did.
Yeah.
But I agree, there's no talk.
There's no talking, and the cream's gonna come to the top. That's all I wanted to get there. So you can take the vote and
Well, I mean,
There's no need to rush about anything.
yeah, we do have a motion and a second on the table. The motion was to require that the sign be put up in 30 days. Well, who's in favor of that?
I just want to make sure that, well, first of all, you know how things get lost. Find out who's got that sign, and then let's talk about it more. Just make sure everything's done right.
And like I said, when we have situations like this, I think these discussions probably shouldn't happen in this setting. And that we should have these discussions to say, hey, somebody asked the appearance commission exactly what's going on. And again, I don't think any of us on this council have even asked anybody what's going on. I don't think, well,
oh, I have. I have.
you asked the appearance commission?
I have not went to, no, I did not go there.
But you've asked questions back.
But I'm okay. I understand what you're saying. All right? And I'll go with that. But it's not gonna die.
I don't think the expectation is for it to die. And again, if I understand correctly, the appearance commission has asked the Heritage Center, is it? Is it the Heritage Center?
And that's on our shoulders, right?
They have asked them to come back, so I guess it's up to the Heritage Center.
It's similar to your vote here tonight.
Yeah,
Y'all asked for more application information. So at that point, you're still gonna make a decision for the other, but it's the applicant's responsibility to bring you back.
oh, do you have it? Yeah.
Yeah, let's see.
There we go.
I can't say. Beautiful.
My eyes are not good, so, okay, so this is what was presented, this is the sign.
Is that the actual sign?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So this would be an example, and
The wording.
this would be
It's
your
on there.
wording, and if you can read that. feel free.
But, so my question is do we have the actual sign?
No, they did not, this is the actual
This
application,
was the application.
and they're telling you this is what the sign.
But they do have the actual sign?
Because there's not.
And
been
it's in
a picture of
storage.
it submitted.
So then my question is I'm incredibly confused now, but with that being said, have we at least asked to see the sign?
This is the whole application that was brought before the.
The appearance commission, the appearance commission requested everything that they wanted. They got applications, the gentleman stood right here, and they asked him every question they wanted to ask him. You know, and they requested more information. In that sense.
So yeah, that's my understanding is again, when we request for more information with any of our hearings and any of our discussions, we do expect people to come back with information.
I think they pretty much understood that it wasn't gonna be allowed to put up unless they spent another additional $1,500 to define druggist.
I'm not
So
sure.
they put it
The
away.
druggist and the pharmacist was the
Same
holdup,
thing,
and
yes.
in their minds, they're thinking, I don't know if we're gonna get too far. They're reading people's minds or reading the writing on the wall
No, I
or
think they
something.
pretty much were told that.
They were told
Yeah,
that, okay.
That had to be defined.
So again, what's happening here is we're sitting here speculating about a conversation that clearly we haven't even, I can't even say I even know that we've looked at the meeting if we're speculating on what has happened. So my suggestion would be is that we study it carefully if we're that concerned and make sure that we have all the factual information before we make motions in a meeting. Facts are important, very important. And when you are hearing one side of any story, whatever they have to say is going to sound golden to get them whatever they think they want.
I don't think that's the case.
But you know,
And that's okay. But again, my suggestion is that if we really want to study what has happened, then we get all the information surrounding what's happening. But we do have a motion and a second on the table. So, all those in favor of requiring that we demand the sign be up in 30 days?
I told you I would change it, so
Do we want to
I'm a
withdraw
nay.
the motion?
can I redraw it? Or just say no?
You can request of the chair that the current motion be suspended and request somebody else to make a motion. Get a second.
I'll do
Make that request. Do we have a motion to withdraw that motion?
So,
second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Uh,
We're going to withdraw that motion. And again, I would say that if we really want to explore this thing, let's explore this thing, but do it the correct way.
I will promise you that I'll make a trip to Smithfield and I'll explore.
I wouldn't say that a trip to Smithfield is even the way to start, to be honest with you, Councilman Overby. I would talk to the folks at the Appearance Commission and understand exactly what they're looking for. Again, for me, if there's something that we think we want to see, even from our boards, I think we should express that to those board members as individual council members. Anytime that there's something going on as far as the planning board's concerned, I try to tell them what our vision is as a board and then go from there. But those are conversations you should have with your people.
I will do both.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Did you have anything else, Councilman?
No, I'm good.
We'll come on around the table. Councilwoman Whitley.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's all very informative. I hope everyone is safe going home. It sounded like a hurricane a while ago. And again, thank you all for coming and listening and being a part of our community.
Councilwoman Watson.
I second that. Thank you for coming. I always think transparency and public discussion is a good thing. It's your community. We're here to help you build it like we want it. So call me if you have any suggestions. We're trying.
Mayor Pro Tem Scarborough.
Like I said, thanks everybody for coming out tonight. I wasn't gonna say too much, but let me, say that, we're not here to entertain the world about Selma. We got things we talk about to discuss that's really, really, really important. And to take up the public's time on things that should be discussed somewhere else I think is not really appreciating the time and effort that the people in the community come out to hear us on Facebook and all that, because it takes a while for people to get home, get settled in, listen online. But after about so many hours or so, they're not gonna keep listening. And I want them to make sure they hear what we're talking about this meeting. So it'd be better spend on things that we really want the public to get to know and finish information out, because I'll stop there. Thank you.
And I'll just end on, first of all, staff, thank you for the amount of work that you're putting in right now. And with that being said, I do want us to look into, particularly in our planning department, expanding our planning department, because the amount of work that is coming at this gentleman right here right now is mind-boggling. And we have to address the fact that we are growing quickly. And unfortunately, the way things work in government is the money you need for growth doesn't come until you've actually already grown. And that part in between is painful. So as we're looking at this budget and looking at what's going on right now, and looking at, quite frankly, even our organizational chart, in our planning department particularly, let's see what we can do to make sure that we have enough people looking at all these things that are going on, planning, code enforcement, everything down. We have a lot happening right now. But Mr. Woodard, I want to say thank you particularly, because you have hopped in here and you have taken that fire hose to the face like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
My man. My man. And for the rest of the staff, with the amount of growth happening right now, to see our electric department knee-deep in mud in Eastfield, building a new electrical system is something that we would not have imagined in the town of Selma 5 years ago. So, again, thank you all for the hard work you're doing to keep up with this amazing growth that we're experiencing. That's it for me. With that, we don't have any reason to go in closed session, do we? Thank goodness. With that, can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Got a second? All those in favor? Let's get rolling.